card from leaving today, that number is 11. If you're a Democrat or you lean to the Democrats, 11. If you're a Republican and you lean to the Republicans, 11. That's the number of the representatives from each party from this state who either did not vote for the Amash Amendment or didn't show up to vote for the Amash Amendment. Either one of those groups from either party would have been sufficient for that amendment to pass. Now, the perfect equality of that number from each party should say everything we need to know about where the responsibility lies for the danger and the threat posed to our Fourth Amendment rights. Whatever our beliefs on any other issue, we must all unite against the establishment of both parties to continue the growth of the civil liberties movement of this generation. Yeah. Woo! Now, today's theme has some personal significance to me. I was born in 1984. That's what inspired me originally to pick up George Orwell's book about 15 years ago, and I'm glad I did, because in it, he described the means of every police state known to history. Doublethink, newspeak, or as Orwell writes, to use logic against logic, to repudiate morality while laying claim to it. We know too well ourselves, especially in this last decade, of institutions and laws that claim to be the opposite of what they are, said to be for our own good, but acting for the good of the inner party of our times. Now let me take you back. In early 1984, there was a Super Bowl ad, if any of you were watching that night. It was by Apple Computer. And they were introducing the Macintosh. And they promised to prove that 1984 wouldn't be like 1984. And here today, perhaps ironically, as they've succeeded in putting a camera in every one of our pockets, in our homes, in our businesses, they still have made good on that promise. The world, with the technological innovations they've championed, is a better, freer, more prosperous place for each and every one of us. Today on this iPad, a device that not too many years ago you could only see on Star Trek, I can plan every minute detail of my life. I like to say to people that you can easier get a job, a house, and a spouse than you can navigate a trip to the DMV these days with the technology we have available at our fingertips. But this is about more than just privacy, about what I do on my iPod or my iPad. This is about more than just whether we send racy emails or whether we visit questionable websites, though you're free to do that if you please. Any government that can enlist people you do business with to submit complete and personal records and permanent records of all that you do can then control and decide all that you do. I spent a lot of time on college campuses. It's not uncommon for people to come up to me and tell me that they think my platform, YAL's platform of strictly following the Constitution, is too simplistic for this day and age. They say, some people say the founders couldn't possibly have envisioned all these technological advances that we would make or their impact on our lives. I want to ask you this. If the Constitution were truly a document meant for another time, would it still today so clearly and so plainly bring us all together for the principles that we now hold? Yeah! That no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause? That all warrants must particularly describe the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized? If the Constitution truly is such an anachronism, then why is it that so many politicians fear its influence on our politics? The liberties that the Constitution stands for will always be necessary because some things don't change. You and I will always be individuals who have the right to consent to the powers of our government. We have the right to be free from the whims and passions of those who would use the force of government to do things that would be wrong if they did it themselves. It's time to start asking now, as our founders did, what do we want our world to be like another 200 years from now? Do we want technology to be the unyielding beacon of liberty and opportunity for all humanity? Or do we want it to be an instrument of the state, shackled by the ancient impulse to control and plan the lives of the people for the benefit of a few? Let me say this, we must not give ground to those who say we are careless about security. Our Bill of Rights is the firewall against the worst kinds of insecurities imaginable. We have the good fortune in this country, a tradition of liberty so new to the history of the world that we can proudly carry it with us through every great human achievement. But constitutions don't enforce themselves. We must now begin the hard work. Show the American people what the Fourth Amendment means to their lives, to their children, to their children's children and call them to join us in this movement. Tell your conservative friends, the Second Amendment can't be defended without the Fourth. Tell your liberal friends who are okay with Obama having this power, Obama isn't going to be president forever. It's time to do away with the slogans of 1984, winning the day in our government, and excite the people for a future carried by the mottos of a free society. Peace is progress. Liberty is security. And knowledge of the Constitution is power to the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Weinberg. Mr. Weinberg, everybody, on your way home.